Assalamualaikum and good morning dear students. Today you are going to learn your Also Happen textbook third lesson, the selfish giant. First of all, the writer of the selfish giant. The writer of the selfish giant is Oscar Wilde. This lesson is written by Oscar Wilde. First of all, let's take the title. What's the meaning of the selfish giant? First of all, the word selfish. What is the meaning of selfish? Selfish, that means the person who always think about himself or herself. He or she is called selfish. And giant here, that means devil. You can say devil. You can also say monster. And devil and monster, that means the person who behave very cruelly. That's what giant here. So in this lesson, you have to see the character of selfish giant. First of all, about the writer, Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, who was born on the year 1854 and died in 1900. He belonged to Ireland. That's why he was an Irish poet as well as playwright. Now, see further about this lesson, what's there in the first part of this lesson. So you can see in this first part of the lesson that there is the description of the giant's garden. It was a beautiful and children love to play in that garden. Second thing you have to learn in this lesson, in the first part of the lesson, that the giant was very selfish person. So he built all around a wall of the garden. And the third thing, children did not enter the garden thereafter, and nor did spring and summer did giants experience a change of heart. What happened after building the wall around the garden? That the children cannot enter into the garden and they cannot play into the garden. So what happened after that? So the giant feel that there no season entered into his garden. So he experienced a change of heart and he became a kind-hearted person. So you have to learn these 3 points into the first part of the selfish giant. See, let's start our lesson. Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the giant's garden. What happened every afternoon? Every afternoon after left from the school, the children went to the garden. The children are habituated to going into the garden and they played there into the giant's garden. It was a large lovely garden with soft green grass. Here and there, over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars, and there were 12 peach trees that in the springtime broke out into delicate blossoms of pink and pearl, and in the autumn bore rich fruit. See, the giant's garden was very beautiful garden. It had soft green grasses, and here and there you can see in a park which are the things are there. You can see in this giant's garden so many trees. There are 12 peach trees also, which gives in springtime a delicate flowers like a stars. It blossoms of a pink color, and then in the autumn it gives a rich fruits. It gives us ripe fruit. So in the giant's garden, you can notice that there were so many trees, so many fruit trees, so many plants, so many trees. So children loved it. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games in order to listen to them. What happened? They are in that garden, so many trees are there, so commonly birds are also there. So the birds sat on the trees. Birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly. They speak so sweetly that the children who were playing there, they stopped their game and they started gazing them, stared them, and listened to them. How happy we are here, they cried to each other. And when they heard the song of bird, they stopped their game and they talked to each other that they were very happy there. They talked with each other that we are very happy here, so we can enjoy our life. One day, the giant came back. One day, the giant came came back. He had been to visit his friend, the Cornish ogre, and had stayed with him for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. What happened one day? The giant was not there when the children were playing. So one day the giant came back, and he saw that. Why he came back? Because he had been to visit his friend, the Cornish ogre. Who is Cornish ogre? Cornish ogre, he is also a giant. He is also a giant of Cornwall. Cornish ogre, also a giant of Cornwall in the UK. And ogre here, that means a cruel person, like a giant. So, the giant came back to visit his friend Cornish ogre, and who had stayed with him for 7 years. He stayed with his friend for 7 years, that's why he came here to meet him. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. And when he came to meet his friend, he saw that children were playing into his garden. What are you doing here? He cried in a very rough voice, and the children ran away. And when he saw that the children were playing into his garden, he became angry and he speaks so loudly in a rough tone that, what are you doing here, children? So after listening his voice, the children get frightened and they ran away from that garden. Here you can see the picture of a giant and children were playing around. My own garden is my own garden, said the giant. The giant also added that that's only my personal garden. Anyone can understand that, and I will allow nobody to play in it but myself. And anyone, you have to understand that I will not allow anybody to play here. This is only my garden. So he built a high wall all around it and put up a notice board. So what he did, he built a high wall that children cannot enter into the garden. So he built a high wall around that garden and put a notice board. Which notice board he put? He put a notice board that trespassers will be prosecuted, that no one can enter without permission and no one can enter into his garden. Students, so you can understand, students, the character of a giant, that how selfish he was. He was a very selfish giant. So we can say that here he was a very selfish giant. Students, we will see further in next video. Thank you.